Mr. Fakler, we're going to start off with you with story number one. I'm going to read you the headline. I'll read you the first couple graphs, and I'm going to ask you to comment. This is an article that's coming out of India, of all places. It's a sports publication out of India, but it's actually based on some reporting done in Miami. I don't like to use the same source too many times, so I went with this group. I checked out all of the details, and everything seemed to be on the up and up. But it's kind of a feel-good story. But we also want to go to you because you are a resident soccer or football expert. You remember Vice City Supporters Club. You went out to a match. You had a very difficult time wandering around. You didn't wear the right gear. They threw you out of the Supporters Club section. So you've shared some of your stories thus far. So we figured we'd go to you with this one. So name of the publication is called Sportskeeda. And basically it is a sporting website, but they have a lot of information related to Miami real estate for this particular story. So let me go ahead. I'll read you the headline, first couple graphs, and then you take it from there. Headline: Sergio Busquets and wife Elena Galera buy $8.7 million waterfront home with 7 bedrooms in South Florida. Will I read the first couple graphs, Mr. Fakler, then I want you to comment? Inter Miami midfielder Sergio Busquets has reportedly purchased an $8.7 million waterfront home with wife Elena Galera in South Florida. The property contains 7 bedrooms and 6.5 bathrooms, among other amenities. The defensive midfielder's property spreads over 7,100 square feet area and was purchased from Renovation 7 LLC. Beth Gunnold, who works for the interior remodeling company, stated that this sale was a record in the Sea Ranch Lakes area of Broward County. It looks as though the former Barcelona man is settling in comfortably after completing his move to USA from Spain. He joined former Barcelona teammates Lionel Messi and Jordi Alba at Inter Miami. So, Mr. Fakler, my question to you is, Sergio Busquets is a world-renowned soccer or football player. Yeah, he now has decided to come and play for Inter Miami. He's here because Lionel Messi is here, as well as Jordi Alba. They just recently won the first ever Legions Cup award. And Sergio, who is from Spain, he opts to buy in Broward County, which tends to be a little different feel than what you're going to find in Miami-Dade County. Mr. Fakler, you lived in Broward County for quite some time. Broward County is actually where Fort Lauderdale is located. Could you sort of walk us through as to why Mr. Busquets would opt for Broward County versus Dade County? Does it all have to do with the fact that Inter Miami is playing in Fort Lauderdale for the foreseeable future until its new arena called Freedoms Park is going to open in roughly 2025? Or do you think there's some sort of reason that you as a former Browardite can sort of justify why he opted for Broward versus Dade?
Well, it's perceived as a more family-friendly county. It's a little bit slower pace, really good schools. Not that, Miami-Dade doesn't have them, but it's a little slower pace of life for sure. And what I don't understand, those, and you mentioned it in your lead-in, is why he would buy property that's 5 miles away from the Fort Lauderdale Stadium, knowing that in the near future, there's going to be a new stadium built in Miami. I didn't quite understand that, why he would do that. Now, as far as, demographics too, he's Messi's age. So he's got a wife, he's got a family. I could see, settling down, but, why, if he's going to be here long term, why would he buy near the stadium if the stadium is going to be in Miami? And so it's quite a commute. So I don't know if you had any thoughts on that.
Well, Mr. Fakler, since you are a resident Browardite, former Browardite, right now you're living in Miami, but you lived in Broward for most of your time in Miami. You got here, in the late 80s? Well, as somebody who now lives in Miami, you used to live in Broward, what kind of adjustments or what kind of changes have you had to deal with as someone who speaks more English than Spanish, where Mr. Busquets speaks more Spanish than English?
Well, again, there's a good example. I mean, it's just about everywhere you go here, it's Spanish first and English second. Broward is the flip side. Broward is everybody speak English and very few people speak Spanish. So, I believe he's played in Spain for almost 20 years. So obviously Spanish is his first language. So again, another curiosity to me, why he would pick Broward opposed to Miami-Dade.
All right. Any other comments you might want to make about Inter Miami, which has the worst record in the league they play at in the United States and Canada, called the MLS? they just won the first ever Leagues Cup, which was a tournament between 47 teams in Canada, United States, and Mexico. And they're still in last place for the regular season, but this was a 1 month tournament, and somehow they beat everybody and anyone, including teams from Liga MX.
Yeah,
Any thoughts about that as our soccer
yeah, it
star?
was obviously it was real exciting to watch that final. In full disclosure, Peter and I watched it together, and it was really just outrageously fun. It's a fun experience. They won this cup. There's been a lot of clips on YouTube and elsewhere of them celebrating. It's out. The fact that they won this and they won the cup, which is very important, um, is exciting. Here they were in last place in the MLS standings, and they go into this tournament and they wind up being the champions. So, very exciting. I'm definitely Messi mania has definitely. I'm part of it now, so I'm with it for the long haul.
And Donna, let me go to you real quick. You were also a member of Vice City, like myself and Mr. Fakler. We invited John. John was too busy. But that being said, Donna, you have any thoughts about Busquets buying in Broward or your experience going to matches thus far and being in the Supporters Club?
I mean, I love being in the supporters club for sure. I live in downtown Miami, so for me to like get up there, it's always kind of a hassle. I try to, like there's train schedules and stuff, which like you can hop a train, but there's always some weirdness. Like the match is totally not going to be over by like 11 o'clock at night. I think that's the last train down to come back down south, but unless they have a bunch of kids, and I honestly don't like full disclosure. I have no idea if they have kids or if they're planning to have kids, but
yes, they do. Yeah, they have children.
oh, okay. Well, then that explains it. Because I mean, Miami can just be like, Miami's awesome, but it's also very hectic and chaotic, and it's just far more family friendly up north.
Got it. And John, before we go into you with the story, you want to make any comments about Sergio Busquets, about Inter Miami, about Bape? Remember that Japanese fashion brand that announced that they were going to do it? They were going to do authentic Bape / Inter Miami gear. Any parting thoughts, Mr. Gruss?
Well, I mean, to be honest, I think people who've been here a long time make a bigger deal out of the, Broward and Dade, county lines than people like me who have been more recent arrivals. Like I don't really make a distinction between Miami-Dade and Broward and even Palm Beach. I mean, I'm up and down the coast all the time, and it's just one big megalopolis. As far as I'm concerned, the county line really doesn't mean a whole lot to me. And I really don't feel like there's that much of a difference between the two counties. But I think historically there was, but I think more and more these days, I don't really think it matters. I mean, you're just part of one big giant, metro area.
Well, I will say one difference you will notice is in Broward County, they tend to have their turn signals on. They don't always turn them off, but they always have the turn signals on, versus in Miami, you're probably not going to see a turn signal. You're probably more likely to get cut off at a higher speed in the car in Miami-Dade than you would in Broward. I mean, from my perspective. But what is that worth?